We discuss about the Vedic logical patterns. Sometimes it is not definitive. Sometimes it is better to leave it open-ended. That is actually the basis of the modern scientific thinking. They say that this is the evidence that I have got hitherto. Hereafter I don't know what is likely to happen. For this, the most famous Nasadika Sukta is one such metaphor. The last one is Na asata asit, no asat asit, no sat asit, tadani. In the beginning, there was not even something, and there is nothing called nothing. So exactly what it was. In the discussion, they finally conclude at some point. So Anga Veda, is there someone? Yo asyadhyakshaha parame vyoman. Parame vyoman means this ethereal sky or the universe. Asyadhyakshaha kaha. Is there someone who is actually the presiding principle for all these things? Does he also know that if there was something or nothing? This is an open-ended argument. And there are some important societal restrictions which have these days we think that it is taboo about things, some actually we call them blasphemous, or it is even demeaning. But the Vedic verses were very bold to discuss all these things. There are two animals. Between two animals, sex is not prohibited by any animal law. Anyone can mate anyone. Any animal can mate any animal. But in humans, we have made certain rules that incest or the siblings cannot have sexual relationship. What is the basis of it? There is a typical pattern which is subjected in the Yama-Yami Samvada in the Rig Veda. Samane yonau sahashe. We both were in the same womb. We had very intimate relationship. We were actually more than clinging and hugging. But why do you say that we should not sleep on the same bed? So, Yama gives a number of reasons. Papamaho yahaswasaram nigachat. It's a sin. Sometimes, if you need to explain a scientific principle or a pattern to someone who is not very much aware of it, you have to emphasize a forbidding parlance, which is called the papam. Because all the papas that are listed in the Vedas or Shastras, they have the deviant mind, which is likely to lead to a disaster. No doubt about it. Initially, when you were talking about all these things, then if you say it is sinful, probably people say that okay, they wanted to restrict, they want to have some social semblance. That is the reason they have forbidden all these things. That is the modern thinking. Be it. But the lateral Sapinda Vidhana, Sapinda Gotra Vidhana, they have actually resulted in, because it's an observance of ages together, probably millennia of years, once these are codified. The genetical imbalance and implied degeneration of the genes is one of the most important things. That is the reason why we have the Gotra system, which has kept the community very high. Even the Jewish communities also have certain restrictions like this. The ancient Romans have this. But unfortunately, some of the Middle Eastern, the West Asian communities, the Arabians, etc., they do not have such restrictions. I was recently drawn to one important discussion between two pilots. They were American. They were in a fighter mission in the Middle Eastern war. Then they had great difficulty in making the Arabian pilots understand the instructions from the ATC. Or the ATC was the Arabian and the Pirates for this thing. So actually one of them had reported the basic understanding and the long term this thing, why there is very lesser innovation and why there is lesser intelligence here in particular regions. We can just, I don't know whether it's a premature argument, but other than the Persians, actually in the Middle East there are 2 or 3 genes that are the most predominant. One is the Arabian, the second one is Persian. Persian is Iranian, this thing, which have the Agnihotra Parampara in them. Earlier they were called Zoroastrian. And the Arabians. And the Arabians, incest is allowed to some extent. See, it's common to have the siblings of 2 sisters to have conjugal relationship. So, ages of such relationships have actually resulted in very degenerated, probably the physical traits were very efficient, they are actually long, strong, etc. But the impact on the genes, in particular mental thinking, that's a sort of understanding which has to be dealt upon. So these are some important things. So if I say that the lustful person in his adolescence, if you say that if you try to explain all these things, the moment of lust will conquer all these things, all these logics, etc. So the best way to prevent him is it's a sin. If you do this, you will go to hell. If you say this, that's the best way to prevent him. So the concept of papa is also a byproduct of this logical system. Secondly, the punya. Once you invent a concept called papa, you should also have the basis of punya. In our tradition, of late we see some bizarre aberrations. What are they? If you say anything, okay, God will be pleased and you will get punya. Even if you wear a red saree on a Friday or a Saturday, you say that if you wear this, I will get punya. If you have food in the afternoon and skip your meal in the night, you say I get punya. Instead of pomegranate, if you are eating mangoes, you get, I say I get punya. Instead of having the water, if you pour milk, you say you get punya. Is this the primordial principle of Veda? Is it logical actually? To a rationalist, it all appears as just bogus, just to sway people over in practicing something which results in a benefit to a particular person or a sect. That is the common understanding. But Veda never says this. Drishtarthasya adrushta phalakalpanam anyayam. This is also one primary understanding. Whatever can be readily seen, the cause and effect relationship, which can be readily accepted and established, for that to derive and infer something which is not beyond your means, which we call the adrushta. That is anyaya. That's totally illogical. Anyaya means illogical. It's not illegal, it's illogical. Why do you do this? Suppose if you are sitting on a chair, it does not give you punya. You are sitting for your own body's comfort. Tatra sthira sukham asanam. You have to sit comfortably to speak to a person who is sitting adjacent to you. Further, if you say, if I sit on a chair adjacent to him, if I say about punya, that's probably some way to sway your mind to some extent so that you are on a proper rail. But it's only a basic tendency to cajole you and put you on the right track. It is not that it actually gets you the punya. Only if you sit on a proper chair and if you are giving proper attention to the person who is talking to you rather than concentrating your body which is aching or paining due to inconsistent positioning. If you talk to the person and if that results in some good jnana wisdom in your mind and if you are actually carrying out the acts according to that wisdom, that will result in the punya. So this is a parampara. But in Veda we have got a certain parlance because the parampara, so let's say one example, Ishayatvaiti Shakha Machanati. Ishaya means Annarasa. To have a good food, nutrition, you require a Palasha Shakha, a branch of a tree. How is it logical? It's a parampara. They say that, actually it's a great explanation about it. Just taking the twig of a tree does not give any punya. What is the parampara sambandha? It's an actually indirect relationship. What exactly is it? You just take a twig. For that, you are requesting the tree to give a twig. You are plucking it out, and with it, what are you doing? You will actually drive away the calves of the cows. After driving away the calves, you are taking the cows for good feed, and they come back after having a sumptuous feed. They will come back to this thing. Then the next day, the milk will be, they will be milking. With that milk, you are actually making the curds. And after the curds, you are taking ghee out. With this ghee, you are offering an oblation, the ahuti. With that ahuti, the deities get pleased. And with their pleasure, you are likely to get the Swargaloka. And indirectly, Swargaloka means good life. How is it happen? With good rains. So, for having good rains and good crops, you require this parampara sambandha. So, what will they say? Because why it is relevant is, before you do anything, you should have the long-term benefit of this entire cycle. Don't be short-sighted and short-visioned. That is the basic impliance. I will also give one more relevant example for it. Brahmavadino vadanti agnihotra pragana yajnaha. Kim pragana agnihotramiti. Everything has a beginning. To have any yajna, first of all, you should become an agnihotri, ahitagni. What does an ahitagni do? He does all this thing. So agnihotra is the first this thing. So the yajna starts with agnihotra. Then what is the starting point of agnihotra? What is the basic primordial unit? What is the basic unit of agnihotra? This is vatsaha, the calf. Because as I said, to have the milk that has to be offered as the agnihotra daily morning and evening, cow should have this thing. And certainly there is another important metaphor. Apyagadvam agniga deva bhagam. Apyagadvam agniga deva bhagam means, normally what is the tendency in the society? If you have a limited resource, there will be a race for it. Today the government jobs, the education sector. You need to reserve something for the underprivileged sections, because there is a scarcity of it. Today you don't have a reservation to obtain a mobile connection. Do you have it? No. Because we have sumptuous, abundant, ample reserves. So as long as you have ample reserves, the question of reservation would be, it seems very trivial. This is the philosophy that is aimed in Veda. Apyagadvam agniga deva bhagam. Normally we need to have 3 or 4 portions. When you cut the grass, even to the grass, the deities which are the Abhimani Devatas to the grass, the Darbhas, they say that, okay, Pashavonam bhagaha, Pashavonam bhagosi, this grass is for the cattle, for the next occasion. So you should, if there is a demarcation in the mind of the Yajamana who is doing all these things. Okay, this is for the deities, this is for human consumption, this is for because the humans are the last in the chain of beneficiaries. We should understand. The first share to the milk is of the calves. Nowadays we tend to forget the basic principle. Why is the milk produced in the mother's mammary glands? The first reason is to feed its children. Now we seek the first right to have that. So what they say is, if you have ample mammary glands which are actually producing more milk, the calves will have the first part. The second part will be to the deities, because they are the ones who have actually graced us with good rain. That is the reason you have ample grass, they are eating it and you are giving it. The third one is you are the last beneficiary. Instead what we are doing the other way around. First you consume it, then if you want some deity, you want to offer it as an abhisheka, and a little is left to the calves. So this is the viparyasa. That is the vatsava agnihotraske praganam. So please understand that vatsaha. If you want to have the agnihotra, the first constituent is the vatsa, the calf. Never forget about it. So these are ample examples we have to understand the Vedic logic. These are all logical only. So we can have many more such examples.